I think we can start. It's lovely to have folks here. It's really great to have yet another of our online sessions. This one's going to be run a little bit differently. It's not going to be the standard presentation and it's not going to be the standard panel of talking heads. It's going to be a little bit more fun. So let's get going. It's called It's Down. It's an online hypothetical. But let's kick off. Okay, first of all, I need to acknowledge the fact that I'm here on Camaragal country here in Sydney and acknowledge elders past, present and emerging of our Indigenous peoples right across the land of this great country we live on today, and welcome and pay respects to elders in all the other areas on which you stand today as well. A little bit of housekeeping. If you've got any questions or even comments, please post them into the chat or Q&A window that you've got at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And also today, and we'll try and get to them when we can, but that won't be till after the story gets played out. We're going to be sending out a feedback survey this afternoon, and we're always really keen to hear your thoughts on how these things work. If you've got improvements for how we could do things better, future topics, that's the other big thing we really want to hear from you is, what do you want us to talk about? What do you want us to dive into? What topics do you really care about? And let's see if we can get them on the agenda and get some good, clever people to talk about them, knowledgeable people. So yeah, improvements, future topics, or even if you've got some demos or presentations on projects you've been running, please let us know and see if we can host those as well. Maybe we'll just do the old peering socials and you can tell us about your network and we can tell you about ours, but let us know. A couple of other little things I need to always mention. The fine print. The board adopted a code of conduct for attendees that applies to attendees attending our events. And in summary, it basically means be respectful. Please be accepting and support everybody else to participate in these things. We want to enable a strong community rather than have people tearing each other down or being nasty. So please just be accepting and support everybody else to participate. If you can't comply with this, we will kick you out. And if you think you've been unfairly treated, you've certainly got the right to appeal that. But I'm sorry, once we've kicked you out, we won't admit you back in. And we will apologise later if we got it wrong. A couple of other reminders. We've got the AGM coming up. Nominations are open for the 2 seats we've got open on the board coming up. That closes today. So the official notice of the AGM will be going out tomorrow. And that means voting will start then as well. So please save the date for our AGM. It's the 30th of October. It'll be 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon on the east here, but 10:30 a.m. Western Australian time. So we're looking forward to seeing you all then at the AGM. Speaking of events, we've got a bunch of other ones coming up as well. All the end of year events for the rest of the country. Of course, we had a Canberra event last week, which was really well attended, and I thank all of the Canberra folks that turned up to that. I'm not going to run through all the specific dates of the end of year events that we've got there, but please make a note of your local one, or if you're going to be interstate, please don't feel you can't turn up to an interstate one if you're going to be there at that time. So please have a look at those, register on the portal. If you're a corporate member, you can bring a bunch of colleagues along, maybe even some customers if you'd like to show them how well connected you are to the rest of the industry. Professional members, of course, can bring one guest as well. And yes, we've got some great venues lined up for those, so please do join us. Okay, now we're going to get into the main event. It's what you're all here for, isn't it? The first thing I need to point out here is that this is just a story. And the men and women I have assembled here, they're all players. They have real jobs. They're not here to represent their real jobs. And we're not here to point the finger at anybody in this industry or outside this industry, the internet industry that is, who has done the wrong, right, or other things. What we want to do is play out how these sorts of things unfold. We all know that failures occur, and how we react to them is what makes the difference between a failure and a disaster. In this session, the focus is going to be on the diagnostic techniques and the sorts of things that you could do, and of course, how the people feel amongst all of this, because when it gets down to it, we're all people. So just remember that. While I'm the facilitator, I'm going to be prodding and asking questions. I've got some people here with me who perhaps may have done these sorts of jobs in their careers. In fact, I can guarantee you they all have. They've all been there. They've all been in these trenches. They've all fought these fires. They've all battled these scenarios before, and they bear the scars. So please, as we pick these scars open and have a look at the pain and suffering they've been through, we'll get to it. So then let's get on. It's 3:55 a.m. It's a pretty quiet time. Aftab, where are you, Aftab? Let me just stop sharing so I can see you. Aftab, you're down there in the knock right now, aren't you?
Hi, Noral. Yes, I'm here. Just
How's
another
it,
night.
how's it going? It's pretty boring down there in the knock, isn't it? The Network Operations Centre. So
It is a network operation center. It's pretty boring. Just another day.
well,
I'm
another
pretty
night.
sad after, yeah, I'm pretty sad after what happened over the weekend with Swans. So
Oh,
I just want to take it lightly. Yeah,
yeah,
just
take it pretty slowly, carefully. I mean, I suppose what are you up to right now? You're just going through a few maintenance notices. Is anything happening that could be of interest today?
nothing at the moment. Couple of alarms here and there, few logs. Nothing much.
There's
Pretty
probably a
much
fibre cut
nice.
somewhere, isn't there?
There's always a fiber cut. Somebody's digging somewhere.
It's digging, well,
If
at least at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, they don't usually dig things up, do they? Well,
Oh, sometimes trading are early, so you never know.
so it's all pretty boring. But hang on, it's just clocked after 4 o'clock here. Um, do you think, it's, I think your screens have just gone red, haven't they? Something,
Hold on a second. That doesn't look right. That's a lot of red.
that's a lot of,
Yes.
so it looks like what's happened here now? Your consumer, your consumer broadband's gone down, I think. Is it just consumer?
No, actually, the whole screen is red.
The whole screen is red. So that means your not only your consumer broadband's gone down, but your mobile network's gone down.
Oh, it could be just the monitoring system.
Maybe it's just the monitoring system.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe just a monitoring system.
Your network management system's fallen off the network somehow. But that doesn't sound right.
No, it's not. Well, I can't access the internet myself.
So how are you going to diagnose what's going wrong here? I know you're
Well,
pretty smart, but what
I'm,
sorts of
if I can't access the internet myself, then first I need to check why I don't have the internet. Well, I work in NOC. I should have internet. So, I can't go past my gateway. I can't even, well, I can ping my gateway,
but
but
hang on,
nothing goes beyond that gateway.
wait a second, you're on a corporate network, aren't you? You're not on the
Yes,
actual,
I am.
yes,
Yes.
that
Oh, it
should
could be
be.
corporate network who's down. Oh, let me walk around.
So you're going to go for a walk? Wait a second, shouldn't you
No,
be?
it's just another PC right next to mine.
Are you going to try
So,
the next PC? Okay.
yeah. Oh, that one is down. It's on a different network. It's on a Wi-Fi. It's on a guest Wi-Fi. That is
Okay.
down as well. So it has nothing to do with the corporate. Something is not right.
So
Let me have a look.
what sorts of tools have you got here and how are you going to diagnose this situation? So you've tried the next computer. So you've tried pinging the gateway. What about a trace route? See if that works.
Well, yes, that's what I said. It can't go beyond my gateway router, which is right in front of me. So I can't go beyond that. So something is not right. Oh, even on the guest network, I can't go beyond that side as well. So something is not right. Let me give a call and ask the support team if something is right. Oh, the landline phones are dead. That's interesting.
But
That
hang
doesn't
on,
happen normally.
Aftab, I think your corporate network should be okay here because I think it was just your consumer network. I think your corporate network's on a different network. It should be
No, our
on a
PABX is
completely
in
different
the our
autonomous system.
PABX in the our PABX in the data center. So
Oh, yeah. So it's
it's
on the
going through
same
there.
network.
Yeah, yeah,
It's on
yeah.
the same network as your services. Now that's
Oh
odd.
yeah, I can pick up the phone and give them a call. Okay, hold on a second. Oh, I don't have network coverage.
So your mobile phone's not actually isn't working. So the
No, it's
lights
not.
on your screens are telling us that your mobile phone network's not working.
Absolutely. So something is wrong. I thought it cannot get any worse than that, but it is. Well, I'm in a pickle at the moment. I don't know. Okay. Oh, I do have a personal phone. Let me escalate this to our senior engineer.
That's
Let's
right. You're
see if it's
carrying an
up.
extra phone at the moment because your wife's about to have a baby, isn't she?
Absolutely. I mean, you have to have this all the time. You never know. All right. So I'm giving Matthew a call.
Oh, so we're escalating already, are we? Okay. Let's
Yeah,
try
I don't want
Matthew.
to. I don't want to waste any more time. It's already. We have already spent good 45 odd minutes just trying to figure out one connection to another. So let me see if he picks up his call and say, okay, oh, that is ringing. Well, at least his phone is working.
So Matthew, you're offshore, aren't you? You're in the tier 3 support team over in the Philippines. It's the
That's
Philippines.
right.
So how's it going there, Matthew?
So just received the call from Aftab, started looking into the issue. We're seeing that the in-band management network is completely unreachable. We can't reach any of our devices via in-band management. Switching over to out-of-band management, it looks like that also has failed,
Wait a
which would
second.
point to
Hang on.
it.
So let's just describe you. So when you say in-band and out-of-band, what do you mean here?
So in-band management is management paths that use the network itself to actually communicate with devices and allow you console access to those devices, among other things, of course, and SNMP management and things like that. And out-of-band management is designed to be an alternative path in the event that the network itself is unavailable, so we can still reach all of the devices.
So these are separate cables plugged straight into the routers and the various bits of equipment around the country, and they're plugged into another totally different set of equipment that then you can connect to completely separately to the actual network that delivers the services. Oh, that sounds like a smart idea, but you're telling me
That's the design.
that's the principle behind the design, but it's not working. So anyway, how are you going to diagnose this fault?
It's going to be very challenging at this point. Without any remote access to the devices, it's going to be quite difficult. We do have some connectivity via some older out-of-band management to some edge devices, which is giving us a tiny bit of an indication that there might be something wrong with routes being advertised into the network, but we're not exactly certain of where the issue is coming from.
Okay, so you're checking routing at this point already, are you?
Yeah, looking at logs as well, making sure that if there's anything in the logs that might indicate what's actually going on in the network, that's usually a pretty good place to start as well.
I mean, this is such a big deal. It must be a cyber attack. Come on.
Look, there's no evidence of that at this point. We can't rule it out, but we can't say definitively that that is the case.
Yeah, so that sounds a bit, I don't know. So I think we've heard a few, we've seen a few alerts trigger off on the Cloudflare slide. Is Cloudflare blogging about this yet? If they surely Cloudflare will have noticed. I mean, we're about an hour in already. This has taken quite some time.
I haven't seen anything on their blog yet, but who knows? They might bring something up.
Okay, so look, I think we better tell management about this, shouldn't we? I mean, there's a lot down. I mean, have you got an idea of exactly how much is down at this stage? I mean, we know consumer broadband's not working. We know that the mobile network's not working, and we think there's might be some corporate networks not working as well. But I think Aftab might have plugged his back in by now, so that they should be going.
Yeah, Aftab, do you see any changes when you plug back into the corporate network on your end?
Yeah, at least the corporate side is up, but of course I can't reach out anywhere else. So
Okay.
I'm on an island at the moment.
All right. Well, look, I think we better tell management. Anne, you're the manager of this engineering team. What's going on here? What are you going to do? It's a bit problematic, isn't it?
Good morning. I thought it was good morning, not necessarily. So I've had a number of calls from my peers and I just want to know what's going on. So I'm actually needing to escalate this Matthew, it sounds like it's actually, after a brief chat with you, it sounds like it's quite wide ranging. So I'm going to actually have to tell my peers in the senior exec team what's going on. So basically, from what I gather, it started about 4 a.m. this morning. You guys have been on it for a little while, an hour or so, maybe 2. Looks like 2 hours now. Do you actually know what it is? Firstly, do you know what it is? And how many people have you got on it? I just need to update everyone because the questions are going to be coming thick and fast any minute now.
Absolutely. So we're still not certain of the root cause. We are in the process of dispatching field technicians to these sites, to these routers physically, because we don't have any other way of actually accessing them. So we're getting in touch with all of our field team people at the moment. We are having some difficulties reaching a few people because of the outage. Some technicians who have phones on our network that are obviously not reachable.
Do you need
but we're
any
doing
help
everything we
with
can.
contacts or new other resources, or are you good for the moment? Do you need
Yeah,
me to
look, some help with getting some people into at least make phone calls and stuff for us would be very helpful.
Okay. Okay. And so you mentioned you don't have the root cause. It is a bit early now. Do you know what the impacts are across the business, or not yet?
We're reasonably certain that we know that the mobile network's definitely down. The consumer, the retail internet network is also down, or broadband network. We think that there might also be some impacts to things like IP WAN services and things like that as well, but we're not 100% sure at this stage.
So hang on, that means your broadband fixed line services, so all the links going into people's homes, they're all down. And the mobile network's not working. What about telephony into people's homes? Surely that's okay, isn't it?
No, unfortunately, because telephony depends on IP now, we've lost that as well.
So you've lost the telephony networks. Oh dear, that's not
Right. So this is really big. I'm going to have to start getting on phones. I've been got some private mobile numbers, so I'll start making some calls. Again, let me know if you need any help, but keep going.
Sure.
Have we stuck a notice up? Have you stuck a notice up on your outage page? Hang on, you don't have an outage page, do you?
We do have some ability to communicate with customers, particularly via social media and stuff like that. I'm not sure if we have an outage page as such. I think we do.
I don't think that's your job, though, is it? An
AFTAB. Not my job. It's AFTAB's job.
Can you put a notice up on the status alert page? I don't think that's your job either.
No, I don't know how to access that page. I put it on Facebook if you like.
I don't think you should be putting it on Facebook. You're not authorized.
Oh, that's a good idea. I shouldn't be putting that on Facebook.
No.
Okay.
And so please, I think you'd better be careful. Stick to solving the problem here. Look, it's around about 6 a.m. now, and I don't think we've got any notices out, which is that's a bit unusual in the internet network. Normally the back channels will be buzzing, wash pool or whatever it's called, or whinge pool, might be going off silly. And I think certainly in the background network operators groups channels, they're all having a bit of a field day. Everyone's starting to really notice now. And so all the engineers in the community are out there going, something's wrong, something's down, I can't talk to anybody. Although others are having a very nice quiet day at home. All right, so 6 a.m. across the land, people have started noting it's Witchtel's phones and internet aren't working. Holly, you're a consumer. What's going on at your home? This isn't looking like a normal day, is it?
Absolute crisis. I mean, it started off with our pooch putting a pile of poo in the middle of the carpet because his automatic door to get out didn't work. Then the kids came down. They're trying to get their sandwiches out of the freezer. But Siri did the right thing and turned the freezer off to defrost, hasn't come back. The frozen sandwiches are floating in ice. So they've stalked off to the car, demanded Dad actually drive them to a place to buy and then drop them at school. The next thing I know, I heard a crash because he was looking at them while he drove right into the garage door. I'm going to have to do something with him, but I have to actually go to work now because the speech I'm going to write, I can't write on a dead computer, can I? This is crisis time.
I thought you were going to check your roster to see if you had any shifts first.
Well, that doesn't matter because, in fact, if I've got a shift to sit here, what am I going to do with a dead black screen?
Okay, so you can't reach your shifts to work out if you've got any shifts today, and you can't reach the bank to pay the bills you've got to pay, and your family are stuck in the garage because the garage door can't reach the internet and won't open, and the fridge hasn't turned back on because you told Siri to turn it off. This is all a bit.
You're laughing at me.
This is an awful thing here. So Holly, you're starting to look very pale. Is the stress getting to you?
What? No.
Oh yes, I think you're starting to. Are you having a heart attack there?
I could be, but I can't drive to the hospital, can I? And I've got to write a speech.
Well, I think you were about to call 000, weren't you?
How do I do that? Now, seriously, how do I do that?
Well, I think honestly, Holly, you really don't look well. You should give it a go. Please call 000.
The phone doesn't work. I tried.
So what happened when you tried to call 000? So did you use the landline or the mobile?
I used my mobile. You don't have my mobile network is down.
Oh,
I'm going to have to walk. I'm going to have to drag my husband to the hospital if I can.
So hang on. So what happened when you rang on the mobile? So
Laughed.
It just didn't get through. So it just didn't get through at all. It didn't fall. You didn't get the Telstra network or the Optus network or TPGs. You didn't get another network.
So Triple L always works.
Nothing's happened. Oh dear.
Oh
dear. Hang on a sec, Matthew. What's happened here? Why hasn't 000 worked?
Just a theory at this point. We can't confirm, but it would appear that the reason for that is the cell towers haven't actually disconnected themselves. They haven't told mobile devices to get off the network. It's a process called wilting, and that would be because the mobile network still thinks that it has connectivity to the core, but because the core is down, it can't actually reach any other networks or anything like that to establish calls.
Okay, so now hang on. I don't know if she's got a 3G phone or a 4G phone, and I know some 4G phones will use the 3G phone network to get back to it, and sometimes the 3G ones won't. Yeah, that's different for all the different handsets, isn't it? Which network they use and when they use it. Oh, this is looking pretty serious. So the handsets, they can reach the radio network, but they can't reach the call service in the center of the network. That's the problem here.
That's correct. Yep.
Is this giving you some clues as to what might be going wrong here?
Yeah, it's sort of validating some of the initial thoughts that we had about what might be going on. It's definitely a core related issue, and we're still working on getting people into these sites to have a look at these routers in person and actually physically connect to them so that we can see what's going on.
Oh dear. I mean, it sounds, so you're not sure if it's a cyber attack, but it could be routing. Come on, it's got to be DNS.
Doesn't look like it, but it could be. We're not ruling that out either.
It's always DNS. Come on, it's got to be. Okay. All right. So by now, I've heard the ministers on the radio. It's like the radio is still working and there's a lot of chatter going on there. It's what is it now, about 6:30, 7:30, getting on towards 7 in the morning. The minister's definitely on the radio. The minister's briefing the press and moaning about how half the nation's phones and internet's out and no one's told her what's going on. Yeah, I think that the mobile towers have now started to wilt, as you say, so they've started turning themselves off altogether. And it sounds to me as if you've got somebody out there to turn the rest of the radio network off to make sure that the things they definitely can't get through.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
So is anyone telling any customers or the minister? Anne, have you told anybody anything?
Look, I've spoken to the exec team. I've got authority to send some updates out now. Unfortunately, our website's is on net, so we're actually having a bit of trouble updating that and getting the comms out.
Well, none of your customers.
I mean, you need to get something out, but our customers won't be able to see it anyway, right? So we're trying to do an alternate comms on the website, but yeah, it's looking a little bit slow at the moment, and it will take us a little bit more time to get some information out.
Yeah. But I think your corporate network's up, and so that website's going. I think you can probably post some messages up there.
Yeah, we're just structuring those up now.
Okay, then. Okay. Well, look, this is a bit of a disaster. I think it's quite a crisis, really. And there doesn't seem to be the right communications going out of any sort. Look, I think it's about, are you going to bring in a PR consultant? I think it's time for the crisis team, isn't it?
I think it is, and also our staff is starting to come on board across the board. So it's actually we've both got external impacts with our customers, but also with our staff being able to do any work. So
All
yeah,
right.
across the board.
Okay, I think it's time we bring in the PR crisis consultant, Elise Davison. You're the PR consultant. You're the crisis consultant. What are you doing? Which tel have asked you to save the day? Come on, rescue us all. What are you going to do with that now?
I've been awake for about an hour now, and I am playing catch up. But we've got a crisis communications plan that we need to press play on. As Anne mentioned, we're getting the appropriate sign-offs for that to get messages out to customers. But it is, pardon my French, absolute shit show out there. It's not true that, you know, some people have mobile networks with us, others have home broadband. Everyone seems to be able to access social to be complaining about it, and it's going incredibly terribly. So we need to get a message up right away, acknowledging that we're aware that there's an issue. We're working to diagnose it, and we'll keep customers updated as soon as we have information to share. Matthew obviously is working to diagnose that problem, but is there any way we can get a time frame or anything like that? I'll just cover off what I'm doing in terms of comms. We're getting a ticker up for the bottom of the website for those that can use the internet at work or otherwise to say we are aware there's an issue impacting our mobile and broadband customers. We're working to identify the issue and we'll keep you updated. We'll do the same on socials, but we're just getting hammered. The media is being diverted to my number. We've got calls coming thick and fast. So I think what I'm going to do is just call a press conference where I can give a short statement to essentially say that, so that they've got some face to the problem and we can be seen to be out there and being transparent and acknowledging that there's a problem and we're working to solve it. But Matthew, there's all sorts of rumors going around. I don't know, is this a cyber attack? Is this a ransom thing? Is it, you know, where is it coming from?
We're less convinced that it's a cyber attack now. There's more indications coming through as we sort of gain access to bits and pieces here and there that it's something internal. So we're quite certain that it's not a cyber attack or a ransomware attack or anything like that.
So hang on, how do we know that it's not a cyber attack? I mean, you're checking all of the international graphs of traffic monitoring, aren't you? You can't see a file of traffic coming in onto this network. In fact, you're seeing none.
We're actually seeing a lot of traffic is being diverted through a particular path on the network, just one single pipe. So it looks like there might be a routing leak or something like that, but we're still investigating the exact cause.
Right, so I can't communicate anything at all to the public. And I've been talking with Dan and the exec team about this. I'm now on an Uber on the way into the office, so there's a war room. We've got the CEO and the exec team in there. I'm going to be joining them so we can be having these conversations in real time. But we can't communicate anything whatsoever unless we are 100% sure it's true. We can't be wrong. Accuracy is key. So speed is really important, but it has to be correct. So I'm going to have to get sign off before we can communicate that.
So I can help you with that, Elise. I just think we need to go out into the public just to acknowledge that there is something wrong, so people aren't making up all sorts of rumours. I think if we just acknowledge that something's wrong and we're actually working on it actively. I get that Matt doesn't know what it is yet, but we're going to put you under pressure, Matt, to actually get some information because the senior exec team is asking for that as well, as is the public. Sure. So I think we need to go out with just, you know, there is a problem. We're working on it. We still don't have timelines, but, you know, yeah.
Another question we're getting asked is if there's a data breach, if customers' information is being made available. As you can imagine, social media is absolutely ablaze with chat about this, and people are really, really angry.
I bet they are. And I think Uber's surge pricing has kicked in too, hasn't it, Elise? The bill you're getting just to come to suburbs is fairly high.
Yeah, I've heard there's some sort of issue with the trains as well, which someone might be able to update me with. I'm just getting information as it comes in, but surely we haven't brought down the train network as well.
Yeah, I'm afraid to say it looks like even the new metro here is affected. The driverless trains have stopped working. It looks like there's some sort of there's a lack of redundancy in there somewhere. Their control systems are not talking to the network, so the trains have just stopped. So that's
Right.
there's no trains. It's peak hour and there are no trains. But you're in an Uber with surge pricing, so you should be fine. So what are you going to do next? You're going to send the CEO out there?
No, the CEO is obviously leading the business continuity planning team and the crisis team, which Anne's a part of with the execs. So they are essentially ensuring that all of the information is consistent, providing sign off for any of our external messages along with legal. But I'm going to get out there because they need to have a face.
So you're the face. You're now the
I can go.
Okay. Oh, now she's gone on mute.
I don't have much.
Hypothetical.
We obviously don't have a great deal of information as yet, but we do need to be seen to be responsive, transparent, and communicating as much as we can. I'm happy to go out there and get beaten up by the media. That's what I do. But we want to keep our CEO doing what they do and leading the team, and we can talk about what we say or what that person says after this crisis is resolved. But right now, I'm just trying to get the message out to as many people as possible that we're on it and we're trying to fix it.
Okay, hang on. But the CEO's media trained and savvy. Come on, he's responsible, isn't he? He's the one that should be getting out there. Surely you need to put him in the front.
I think people understand that the CEO's job is to ensure that the network is up and running, and he's leading executive team. There may be the time for them to go out later, as I said, but right now, if people want to face to hate, I'm going to put my face on the line because it doesn't matter as much, to be really honest.
So come on, let's be truthful here. You just don't want the CEO looking bad.
Well, obviously, we've got our corporate reputation to protect. The CEO is the leader of the organisation. Trust is really important. If we're only providing accurate information as to what we know what's happening, in the absence of knowing what's happening, there's not a lot that they can say at this point anyway. So I'm happy to work.
And he's not the most technical person in the world either, is he?
Probably more technical than me. I'll be perfectly honest, but
So with the trains not working, I think there's going to be a riot somewhere. Are you talking with anybody else out there? What about
the police media team's on to me, as is Transport New South Wales, Sydney Metro. I'm getting a lot of calls from them. Their crisis team is also kicked into place, and so you'll see they're sending out updates themselves as well. But it's all pointing back to us, unfortunately.
Okay, then. So look, it's around about 11 a.m. now. Surely it's time to resolve this. Now, Matt, Matt and AFTAB, have you figured out what's wrong here? I think AFTAB's gone to site. AFTAB's left the knock. He's been awake all night. This is pretty rough on him. You know, he's used to it now. The baby's probably due.
Yes, I've been just told to go to the data center, so I am just preparing myself for that. So I'm ready, Matthew, whenever you want me to be there.
Yes, a hard hat will probably do some good here. Can you get in through the front door of the data center, AFTAB?
No, I can't. It's not working. Our access codes are not working. Probably because security system is also on the same network, which is down.
I've got facilities going to join you, AFTAB. So we've got some manual processes that we're putting in place, which we had identified previously as part of our BCP for access and facilities information. So we'll have someone there meet you.
So someone's going to take a chainsaw to the data center. I think I hear this.
Yeah, we've got some processes in place, so we will get access.
We've got them. Okay, sorry. Look.
Which we had identified as part of our BCP planning for facilities. So we're actually okay in that space.
So the business continuity plan has put the circular saw in the hand of someone, and I thought it was just a cleaner at the gate that was going to let him in. But anyway, so AFTAB, you've got in through the door there. But Matt, haven't you got remote power management? Sorry, no, AFTAB. Matt, what are you telling AFTAB to do here? What are you telling AFTAB to do?
AFTAB need to get your console cable and laptop prepared and plug into the core router that's in the rack there, rack number 3, I think it is.
Sorry about
Oh,
that.
Matt, I picked up the knockback. It doesn't have the right console in it.
Oh, that's not helpful. Would you mind terribly having a look
It's
around in the neighboring racks and things to see if there's a cable
Yep.
that will work?
Hold on a second. Let me have a look.
Okay, so while Aftab's doing that, we're putting a bit of a plan in place for what we're going to do when we do finally get that remote access. But it does look like the end result's going to be effectively a hard reboot of the routers.
A hard
So, Matt,
reboot.
Matt, can I ask that you actually document what's done so we can actually do the change management after the fact?
Definitely, we're keeping a record of everything we're doing as we go.
And how long, sorry to interrupt, how long is that going to take, Matthew, the hard reboot?
We're hoping that everything, that process should be completed within about half an hour or so, and we're also hoping that as part of that, the network will start to restore.
Hang on a second. Say half
Matthew,
an hour.
sorry, I need to jump in quickly because time is very critical. Mate, there are 10 boxes you told me with the same description. Which one I'm supposed to rebooting?
So the record here is rack 3 RU17.
Hang on, he's got more than one of those there at that site. You've got, I think, from what I understand, you've got around about 100 of these things in about 20 data centers across the country.
Yeah, so we're probably going to have to, we need to at least log into one of them to see what's going on first and confirm our suspicions. But then, yes, it's probably going to be a matter of flipping quite a few switches in quite a few different racks.
Okay, I think I found the right one, Matthew. I have the access. Let me get some details.
So what are you seeing now? What are you seeing on there? What are you looking at? You're looking at the routing table or the buffers, or what are you looking at?
Oh my God, it's the BGP.
Not the BGP.
It's the BGP.
The border gateway protocol. The border gateway protocol. Yep.
Oh yeah.
We suspected, yeah, it's not good. We did suspect that was going to be the case. And I think you may have also found something else there, Aftab. There's looks like a missing missing route map that's causing certain routes to not be filtered properly. Is that right?
Absolutely. There's yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see the problem.
That's making some sense now. Can I get to you to apply this configuration that I've sent to you in the chat, and then once that's done, we can look at whether or not we need to start doing some reboots as well.
Oh, that's easy. That's a couple of lines. Yep. All done.
Okay.
Do you want me to reboot?
Sorry, Matt, can you just tell me what I tell the senior exec? What's caused it? I'm not asking for a complete root cause analysis now, but what do I say? Getting pings.
So it looks like it's a couple of different things all at the same time. So the first thing is we've received an influx of routes from a particular peer, which is causing all of our traffic now to be diverted into a single connection, a single peering connection to that other network, and it's causing an enormous amount of congestion and packet loss, which is effectively causing nothing to work.
Is that an attack? Are we under cyber attack, or is that just a misconfig?
It's unlikely to be an attack. It's more likely that someone's made a misconfiguration on that network adjacent to us and has caused those routes to flood into us.
Okay, well, I'll let the team know. I mean, Elise, I don't know if you've got any questions.
I'm just going to need that in plain English. I'm sorry, Matthew. That is understood by humans. Could you have another run through of just the most simple way you can explain that, please?
Think of it as we're having a dozen different phone books thrown at us all at the same time, and our routers are getting confused about where they're supposed to make the phone calls, so to speak.
Hang on a second. Let me make this clear. What's happened here is that it's obvious that your external network connection, your eBGP, is connected to your iBGP. You've received the entire internet routing table into your externally connected routers, and they're supposed to be able to handle that. So they've got that, they've relayed it to the route servers, and now the route servers have connected that to absolutely every router on your entire network, even the ones that are only supposed to handle internal networks, the iBGP.
That's correct.
You've
That is
connected
correct, and that's
the outside world to the inside world, and it's a fire hose, and they can't cope.
yeah, and that's the second half of the problem that I was talking about. Is we've identified a misconfiguration in our own network that should have been a guardrail to prevent those routes from flooding in, and that guardrail was actually missing. So.
So sorry, just to again go back to the broader message, is this a human error? Is it a network error? We've said it's not a cyber attack. Is it a technical problem? Someone cut a cable. What bucket can we put that under?
Definitely appears to be human error, at least on our end. We're not sure about the upstream network, but we know that our end, the problem is human error.
Okay.
Oh dear. So what are you going to now? What are you going to do? You're going to separate the IBGP from the EBGP, aren't you?
Yeah, so that's what the filters that AFTAB just applied are about. That's sort of segregating those two networks from each other and making sure that those routes don't propagate the way that they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you've still got to turn it all off and turn it back on again, don't you? Because the buffers are full and they've fallen over.
Unfortunately, yeah, we've got some routers that have fallen over. We've got some stuck routes as well that won't clear from certain devices. So it looks like it's just going to be switch a whole bunch of them off and then back on again, basically.
So, and you've got the team ready in place to go to every single port.
Yeah, it's going to be a big ask, but yeah, we're actually halfway through getting people to site. So I expect that to be complete in the next half hour or so before we can actually enact the switch.
So after, but it sounds like you're going to have to log into all of those boxes and turn them all off and turn them back on again.
Yes, I'm already halfway marked, so this is easy. Matthew has helped me with the script, so it's getting better, faster. But yes, of course, devices takes time to reboot. It's going to be a long day.
And you're going to update the documentation too, aren't you?
At some point, yes, I will.
So we're keeping a record, as Anne asked, we're keeping a record of all the changes that are being made and where, so that we can go back and backfill that change management process.
Yeah, because we've already seen some problems with the documentation. I think that you sent AFTAB to the wrong rack to begin with, but that's all there. So okay, it's now about 12 midday, and things are starting to come back up. Cell towers are starting to be phased back online. AFTAB, why aren't the cell towers just being turned on all at once?
It will take too much effort. So maybe let's start with few. Maybe start connecting them. Otherwise, you will flock in all the users in one go, overwhelming the network infrastructure. Then you have another problem to deal with. So let's do it momentarily, gradually, so things can ease out and we are not hit with self-created DDoS.
Oh dear. Okay, so what's happening is that every single mobile handset and all those IoT devices connected to the mobile network, they all will want to come back on and re-register all at once, and it'll cause everything to just fail all over again. Oh dear. So this is a very carefully coordinated, phased-in approach. I hope Anne's okay with that, and she's across every single part of the country that's got to be brought in.
Yeah,
okay.
and we've got a list, so we're actually working to a list.
Well, let's just check in and see how Holly's going. Holly, last we heard you were trying to call 000. Has anybody been in touch with a welfare check? Are you okay?
You're kidding me. Nobody's been in touch, and I haven't been in touch with anybody.
Oh dear, that's not good. Elise, how is this going with Witchtel's reputation here?
Well, as I've said, Witchtel's getting pummeled at the moment, but fortunately I have been able to get an IVR up on the phone lines. So for people calling in, it's just an automatic message. There's no way we can answer the calls, but for those who are using someone else's phone, it's just an automatic message saying we're aware of the event, we're working to restore it. That's gone on our social media as well. I've done the press conference saying as much as I do have an AFTAB, if you've got a spare helmet, that would be pretty good for next time I go out as well. Media are largely being held at bay, but they're pulling all the stories from social about the impacts on everybody who's just myriad. And
oh dear. So how are you going to fix this? How are you going to come back from this? I mean, the network's coming up and it's starting to work. It's like we've got coverage restored to at least half the country now, and I think people's home broadband is pretty much working okay.
Yeah.
But so what are you going to do? Give everyone some free data, or like, can I get my bill? Like, what about our bills? Are we going to get that?
Well, again, the legal and regulatory teams checking with the TIO, the Telecommunications Industry Ombudsman, about what we have to do as a make good, but certainly some gesture would be probably go a little way. I mean, some people, such as the story that we heard from Holly, everybody's been impacted in a million different ways. As many customers as we have is many different problems, so that won't satisfy many. But what we need to do is to be really transparent. I am going to get the CEO out there once we're fully up and resolved to do a debrief, explain what's happened, and say sorry. It's really important that we're demonstrating empathy. We're being transparent about what happened and what we did to solve it, and again, just to say sorry and show the steps that we're going to take in order to prevent this happening again.
Holly, last we heard you had the family stuck in the garage because the garage door wouldn't open. Your carpets were all ruined because the fridge had melted and the dog had pooped everywhere because it couldn't get out. The dog hasn't been fed, luckily, so that's one good thing. But what's going to restore this for you? What do you think you're legally entitled to? What do you think we should get?
Well, money.
You
Now,
want
I would certainly want money. Now, I've checked. You can go to court, but that's way too expensive and too long. You could go to the ACCC, but they don't take individual complaints. You could go to the ACMA. They oversee codes, but you've got to wait for time. I'm going to the TIO because the TIO, this whatever my stupid company, I can't even remember the name of it, they provide residential services. They have to be a member of the TIO. And as part of what they sign up to, they have to be participating in handling my complaint, and I can get up to $100,000. So
$100,000.
$100,000.
Hang on a second. This phone company didn't provide you with the pet feeder. They didn't provide you with the security system that controls your doors. You're the one that bought that and put that in.
With connectivity, which I've been using, and they would knowingly that I rely on connectivity to do a lot of things, to listen, to obey, to talk to Siri, to have the door to open the dog so we can go out and poo, to open all of that stuff is reasonably foreseeable, and I'm going after it.
Sorry, you're saying it's reasonably foreseeable that these things shouldn't work, so therefore that's your telco's fault.
Reasonably foreseeable that they do work, and if they don't work, then it's reasonably foreseeable that damage happens.
But what about your loss of income? You've lost income today, haven't you? Because you couldn't get those shifts.
You interrupted me. I was about to point out. I mean, there's my husband. God knows he needs to be pried out from the seat as it is. I've got to go rescue him. But then there's my job. I'm supposed to be writing a speech that is very important to my boss. And my computer is just laughing at me. So I've got to actually get an Uber because the car is stuck in the garage. And get an Uber so I can get to work. Oh, there's lots of things I can list. And I'm writing.
Got a long list of damages that you believe has incurred simply because of this outage, and you're going to be lodging a claim for all of that.
We'll be talking to the TIO. We're going to work out what it is that would be reasonably foreseeable for me to recover. And I would love the $100,000 limit that they've got. It should cover at least the new carpet for the dog poo.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Look, I think this is really, I think the network's back up though now. Everything's working, isn't it, Matt? AFTAB,
Yeah, looks
green screens again?
Looks like things have restored for the most part. We're obviously still bringing up the mobile network little bit by bit just to manage that load as AFTAB mentioned. But yeah, no, things look like they're restoring quite well.
All right, looks like AFTAB, you can go home to the family. I think Anne's still in a war room with management, same with Elise. Look, I think, this has all been quite something. I think we'll have to do a bit of a roundup here and see what you think you could have done better and how all this could have been avoided. So I think, look, we'll start with AFTAB. How do you think you could have done better and how do you think it could have all been avoided?
Our out-of-band management should be on a third-party provider rather on our own. it could have been good a start. Then we followed our SOPs to the bone as much as possible. That was a good thing. But yeah, it's good to have some onshore senior support staff who maybe we can just drive down to the next suburb and see if they are available, rather than poor Matthew staying up all evening and night in the faraway Philippines. So that could have been avoided as well. Yes, technology fails all the time. It's how you recover from it is the most important thing.
Oh, thanks for that. What about you, Matt? What do you think you could have done better? And well, come on, it's got to have been who put that config in?
Yeah, so we've learned a few things. Number one, the change management process did fail there. We've discovered that guardrail configuration was never actually applied when the peering link was established with the other network. So obviously something was missed there, and that's caused no end of issues for us today. Another issue that
this is keeping your network separate, isn't it?
Yeah, to an extent, yeah. It's
one of the maximum prefix limits.
Yeah, to a point, it's about that as well, but it's also about making sure that we're not learning routes to certain destinations via the wrong paths, or via, in this case, just one single path, and pushing all of our traffic through that. And also BACS prefix and all that comes into play as well. Making sure that we've got those things configured. Another issue that we encountered was that out-of-band management not being operational. And it turns out that was due to an unknown or undiscovered previously dependency on the in-band network that caused it to become unavailable when the in-band network was unavailable. So in future, we really should be regularly testing the out-of-band network to make sure that it actually does work, and that it's doing what we expect it to do. And I'm also an advocate personally for making use of the out-of-band network by default for management access to devices, rather than in-band management first. That just helps to make sure that we know and we can rely on that out-of-band network to always be available.
Good point. So Anne, as management here, are you satisfied with what you've done and what the team have done, and how
lessons learned for everyone, but first to acknowledge Aftab and Matthew for actually getting us through the last couple of hours. I think Matt and Aftab have summarised what we need to do from the changelog and perspective, but really I'd like to, from a management perspective, go back through those and see what change, or if there was a change that actually resulted in this error being propagated through the network, and make sure tighten up our change management process if required. Also looking at the post-incident review report, so making sure we really understand the root cause of it, if that's what it was, and also in that PIR, looking at our reliance on single point of failures across the technology. You mentioned the out of band stuff. Make sure that's not proper. Make sure it's proper out of band with a third party, but also that it's tested properly as part of the BCP processes. So a fair bit of stuff. And probably the last thing is actually making sure that our technology and our implementation is actually up to scratch for the services we're providing, right? And if there's more investment that's needed in that space, I'd like to understand that and take that back through to senior executive to make sure we've got something that provides a reliable service.
And you're happy with the staff you had on the ground in the places where you needed them?
Well, again, we have to look at the staffing models again to be in line with our staff investment. I don't think there was much of an issue, but we got to make sure that people have got backups and the backups are available when people actually are working long hours, that we've actually got the right resource models across the organisation for all services that we're actually delivering.
Okay then. Well, so then from a PR point of view, with this crisis, I mean, did you manage it properly there? Did you think everything went okay there, Elise? How do you?
Well, look, we can only do what we can do with the information we're presented with. So the team's been giving us updates as quickly as they can. Ideally, I think we would have got something out sooner, So speed is really, really important in these issues. And while we had a business continuity plan that has a crisis comms plan in it, which has messages that are laid out for each group of stakeholders that we're dealing with, so media, customers, social media, our IVR, so on our phone lines, a message that comes in, and employees. When we couldn't get those messages out, we had to revert to our backup plan, which is the WhatsApp group. Unfortunately, all the members of the senior executive team do have a backup phone. Unfortunately, in a couple of cases, that was out of charge, and in one case, in a drawer at work, they couldn't access the site. So we need to A, update that group because we've had a couple of people come and go. B, we need to reiterate the fact that we need a central communication hub for when this occurs, so that every single member of the team is able to communicate, and there's one source of truth on this information in terms of the information we're providing. And we just need to communicate early and often with clarity and transparency and accuracy for as much as we know when we know it.
And what about calling the minister? Are you going to phone the minister first thing, or?
The minister, I believe Anne's been speaking with the minister's office, so I'll leave that with her. I'll stay on comms and do the mop up there as best as is possible, and I'm prepping the CEO for the press conference that follows.
So now the CEO is getting out to the press. Okay. And I hope he's got his best frock on and looks really good. Okay, so then we've got to give the final word to our consumer, Holly. How is this going to ever be made up for you? Are you happy with how you were treated today and what you're going to do next? And
Well, it's just beginning now. It's just kind of, first of all, looking around, seeing the carpet, looking at what I'm relying on in terms of an internet. And part of me would like to go back to having no internet, to actually being able to have a dog door that works regardless, and a garage door that works regardless. It's a real lesson. We all rely so much on the internet, and we don't realize it. You know,
I don't suppose you've got a very good manual with any of your equipment or good labeling on there that let you know that these things won't work if the network's not there.
We just take it for granted. You know, I mean, have you seen the size of the print that accompanies these things in boxes?
Yeah, I don't think there are any things printed in there, are there?
It's not that I suppose we all should expect at some point the internet doesn't work. But we've come to rely so much on things just happening. You know, we rely on Siri, and we rely on Siri doing the right thing, and we rely on pushing a button and the garage door opens, and we rely, even the dog presses the right button to go out and
but you're not expecting to have two different connections from two different providers to every single payment gateway or every single doorway that needs opening. It's all, I mean, the cost of this is going to be very high for you if you had to pay for that.
I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it. And I don't know the lesson learned, except that the internet doesn't always work. It's a best endeavors network, and we've put so much on top of it. And maybe
there are no customer service guarantees in place for these sorts of services, are there? Well, on that cheery note, I think we should probably call it quits for the recording and thank everybody for these amazing contributions.